All right, so this particular pattern and location on a body of water can help you guys not only win more tournaments, but it can help you catch more fish when you're out there on the water. And in this video, that's what I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you an area of a body of water. It could be your body of water. It could be any body of water. I'm going to show you an area that will help you, like I said, win tournaments, catch more fish, and just be more consistent right now during the summer months where these fish could be grouped up and where you can go catch them. Stay tuned. Holy snap. I don't know if y'all see this fish, but it is jumping like crazy. Look at that one, y'all. Look at that. Oh, another nice one. Stay down, dude. Why are you jumping? So the whole time I felt rock after rock after rock after rock, and then he hit it. And they're up here feeding right now is exactly what they're doing. Come on, dude. Just give up. Just like that. There's another one. It's still your confidence bait. That's all you gotta do. And if they're there, you're gonna catch them. This area that I'm talking about, you know, the pros don't talk about it. The locals damn sure ain't telling you about it. And you rarely see it on YouTube. What I'm talking about is just a high spot in the middle of your lake. Middle of your river, pond, lake, whatever. But it's a high spot that has current that gets pushed over it, that normally is hard bottom, which normally has plankton, shell, bass, shad, everything that makes up a great recipe for a great day on the water. Okay, so why is a high spot a great spot to fish? Well, for one, it's usually hard bottom. The wind normally pushes muck, mud off the high spot because it's so high. When that wind comes through, it's basically sweeping it clean. Well, what's left over? You got sand, gravel, rock, shell if there's shell. So that's one reason why, a high spot is so efficient, is it's hard bottom. And the second thing is, normally there is shell. If you have shell in your lake, there's going to be shell there. The shell group up on there. Why? Because they know when the wind and stuff blows, the current blows, there's going to be plankton that's going to be pushed across there. And the shell can feed on the plankton. Well, in that case, the bait fish is also going to find themselves around these high spots because they can also feed off the plankton. Yes. Oh, there's going to be bait fish there, and the bass obviously are going to be there as well. So what's going to happen is you're going to find these areas, not all the time, but most of the time, especially right now in the summer, I feel like this is a great way to find these fish, is that you're going to find these high spots in the middle of your lake that's going to have bait fish, and there's going to be bass present, whether they're on top of that high spot or they're sitting off on the points on the side, or they're sitting off in deeper water waiting to pull up. But guys, like I said, this is a great way to go out and put fish in the boat and just have a great day on the water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over here on my topographic map. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. That way you can go out there on your lake, your pond, river. I don't know if they have them on rivers. I'm sure they do. A high spot can be anything that's elevated higher than what's around it. So let's jump up here on my topographic map. I'm going to show you guys real fast what you need to do to locate these and, talk about what baits you can use to catch these fish. All right, so I'm going to zoom out, show you guys real fast. This is the lake that I'm fishing. All right, as you can see, right now I'm just chilling out here. But I want to show you guys this real quick to help you out. So I'm going to zoom in. As you can see, I got my contours, are broke down to 1 foot sections, which is going to break this lake, the depths of this lake really well for me. All right, so if you look out here in the middle of the lake, you see up here where it goes red, blue, orange, yellow, brown, green. Okay, red being the shallowest, blue being the darkest. Well, all that blue right there is deep water. And you can see where it goes lime green and dark green. These areas are the high spots. As you can see, I have them marked with little icons representing a high spot where fish are. And you can see as I'm fishing these, I'm not going across them. You can see my boat pattern. I'm going around them. I'm going, you know, I'm staying off of them and I'm going around them and fishing them. You come down here to this one right here. You can see I stayed off the edge of it. And like I said, you get that wind that pushes through here. What's going to happen is when that wind pushes through here, it's going to push bait up on top of this. You know, that's a flat area up there, but it's hard bottom, and these fish are going to hang out up there. There's also points on each one of these. There's a point. So you could fish the drop off of the point. You could fish up on top. There's numerous ways to attack this. My boat icon is there. There's the high spot. Stay on the outside and make those crosses going across. Like make those casts going across that high spot. And what you want to do is just slowly work it up, whether you're fishing a crankbait, you know, dragging a worm, dragging a jig, or even throwing a big swim bait or glide bait across it. But you want to stay on one side or the other. Basically position yourself in deeper water. I'm in 17 foot of water. The high spot comes up to 12. So if you're throwing like a Texas rig or a jig, throw it out there across it on the other side where it drops off. Let it sink, take your time, and slowly work it up the back side, up on top, and then down the other side. And you'll notice right away if you're fishing a Texas rig or a jig, if it's hard bottom or not. Most of the time it's gonna be hard bottom. You're gonna feel that shell, that rock. You're gonna feel it down there. Especially using like a 3/4 ounce jig or, you know, 3/8 ounce bullet weight on a Texas rig, you're gonna feel it. If you're throwing a crankbait, you want that crankbait diving down in there and smashing into the bottom as hard as it can. That way you can get a reaction strike. So when I'm out here fishing these high spots, there's a couple baits that I'm gonna pick up right away. These are baits, a lot of these baits are my confident baits, but they work really well fishing this style, you know, this way, out here on these high spots. The first thing I'm gonna use is gonna be a 10-inch Old Monster with a tungsten weight. This is a 1/4 ounce tungsten weight, 4/0 Gamakatsu round bend worm hook. I think this works really well. It's streamlined, but I can get it to the bottom really fast and I can keep it on the bottom. And that's the whole thing when you're fishing these high spots. That tungsten is heavier and smaller. And you know, you can feel every rock, every shell, whatever's down there, you're gonna feel it when you have a tungsten on. The next bait I'm gonna use is gonna be your good old fashioned crankbait. Like a DT or 4XD, 5XD, 6XD, whatever. Get you a nice crankbait and just make sure you're hitting bottom. That's the most important thing. You want to have bottom contact. You want this bait hitting bottom, okay? Throw it on a nice parabolic rod. This would be my second choice. Of course, there's a plane going over right as we're talking. But anyways, third choice would be a jig. We all know jigs catch big fish. You know, it gets the bigger bites. You know, you're fishing, you find this spot and you're catching a bunch of small fish. Throw on a jig. You know, you could probably pick up the bigger fish in the bunch, as well as that, you know, Old Monster made by Zoom. But a jig would be another bait that I would, you know, definitely throw down there. Get you a heavy enough jig. As you can see the bottom of this, all the paint's gone. That's because I've been dragging across this hard bottom. You want the jig to get down there, you want it to stay down there, and you want to fill the bottom composition. You want to make sure it's hard, and that's how you're going to trigger these fish to bite. Whenever you're throwing a Texas rig, never mind. When you're throwing a Texas rig, this is a pretty good one if he stays down. Oh my God, it's a good one, y'all. Like I said, when you're throwing a Texas rig on this hard spot, you just want to sweep it just like you would a jig. This is definitely a nice one. And that's how you catch them. And there it is, y'all. He's bleeding pretty good. Let's get him back in the water. And there she goes. So what I was trying to explain is whenever you're using a Texas rig to fish these high spots, when you drag and sweep, allow that bait to sink back down. You know, you want to tighten up your line, but you want to tighten it up slow. Allow that bait to get back down to the bottom, and then slowly sweep your rod tip again. Make sure you're feeling bottom contact. Let that bait sink back down to the bottom. Give it a couple seconds. Kind of keep your line tight so you can feel if they hit it. Sweep it again. He was down there hanging out. Down there on that high spot. See if there's any more down there real fast before we head out of here. All right, so like I mentioned, there's more than one way to fish these high spots with hard bottom. But I want to tell you right now that it is a great way to go out there and put fish in the boat. And if you're looking for that summertime, you know, pattern, look on your maps, you know, look on your graph. You know, break your contours down to 1 foot to 2 foot increments per foot by color, and then observe your lake and look for those higher spots out there in the middle of nowhere. You know, those are great spots to be fishing right now in the summer, and it's great year-round spots to be fishing. You know, no one talks about it, and I feel like if you guys adjust your graphs, you know, and set your contours and color code it to where it'll show up easier like this and it'll stand out, I'm almost positive you guys will go out there and put more fish in the boat. And like I said, just go check them out. You can go across them with side scan. Once you go across them, you can come back and fish them. You'll see if there's bait or fish up there, and you know, give it a shot. So guys, if you like this video, you know, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions about any of the stuff that I talked about, drop it down in the comments section, and stay tuned to the next one.